Hey guys, this is Eric, Accurate Appraisal Partners. Bear with me, ball cap and everything. This is a typing day. Typing days, I don't like dealing with anybody unless it's email or phone. So it's just the way it is. But got a rant. It'll be educational, but I do have a rant. Don't you hate when you talk to people and they talk at you, somewhat condescending and act like they're above you and they know everything, and then you're listening to them going, you're kind of stupid. So anyway, that's my rant. I don't like when people do that, and we'll get into it. We did a video. You can see all my kindergarten drawings here. We've done several on manufactured versus modular, manufactured versus stick built. So this kind of leads into the rant again. I went out to an appraisal. There's a single wide manufactured home that has a whole side addition, so like 65 feet. They kicked it out. I don't even have anything to draw here, but they kicked it out another half again. So like it was a 16 by 65, and they kicked it out 16 more feet, built a whole new roof, stuccoed over it. So we did the old manufactured videos, HUD tags. There are no HUD. There should only be one because it's a single wide, but there are no HUD tags because it's stuccoed. Then we went over the HUD cert or the HUD data plate, which has a picture of the U.S. This is really nice, like a dead dog drawing here, but picture of the U.S., the manufacturer's name, the date, the VIN, the HUD number, the model number. Sometimes they're kind of like a riddle when you try to figure them out. But anyway, all that data, that HUD data plate or HUD cert is inside. If it's a modular home, then it's a factory built insignia or sticker, but that we'll get into that on another deal. So anyway, this is all gone. Then you say, well, pray tell, how do you know that it's single wide? One, the bank ordered it on a 1004C form, which is a manufactured home form. And two, I went underneath it because it was an FHA appraisal. I have to look at the crawl space. And when I showed up, the HUD guy was there, the guy that was doing the HUD inspection. So anyway, I know it's a single wide because it's sitting on a metal chassis. I looked at the chassis. I also know it's not a frame-on modular because one, it's a single wide, and two, you can just look at the undercarriage, look for axle shackles where the springs were, and also the layout. It's a single wide. There's no way around it. It's just been added on to and stuccoed over. So anyway, now we got a problem. I don't have the HUD tags. There should be one per half on the rear of each home. Inside's been somewhat remodeled, but not 100%. But there's no HUD cert. So here comes my rant. I call the realtor, nice person. I know the individual. Always enjoy talking to him. Try not to put names or deals here because I don't want anybody getting any ideas, but I always enjoy talking to this person. But anyway, I call and I say, well, there's no HUD tags because it's been stuccoed over, and there's no HUD data plate or HUD certification, the HUD cert. That's just what I always call it, the HUD cert or HUD data plate. He says, well, it doesn't have to. It's been purged. Don't you know that? And I'm like, oh, okay, really? I said, so tell me, enlighten me in my 20 years of appraising manufactured homes. Well, once the title's purged, it's considered real property. It's considered a house, Same kind of condescending voice, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Well, I was going to try to educate or explain, but I'm like, man, this dude's too sure of himself, so I ain't going to argue about it. I'll just work on it when I get home. So there's my rant. I don't like being talked at. I like being talked to. And then I don't like when people think they're superior or more intelligent when they've only been in business for like 3 or 4 years, and I've done this for like 20. And believe me, it's not that I don't learn and get educated every day. There's always something that goes on where I'm like, boy, I scratch my head. I was an idiot on that deal, or let's chalk that one up, and we'll go into a zoning deal here maybe on the next video. So anyway, long story short, we have a problem here. The realtor thinks since the title was purged, because manufacturers' homes comes with titles, and they get placed on the lot, a parcel, and then they're assigned a separate parcel number or a tax ID, because essentially they're personal property. They're no different than your RV. I explained in the other video. The HUD tag is like your license plate. The HUD cert or HUD data plate is like your registration. So this is sitting here on blocks or whatever. You can stucco around it. I've seen people even flatten the whole damn thing and build a house around it. Well, guess what? It's still got a manufactured chassis underneath it. So it's still a manufactured home. So here's the problem we run into now. Anything pre-June 15th, 1976, if it's a manufactured, is not built to HUD codes. So this makes a problem. If it's modular, it's a whole different ballgame. But pre June 15th, 76. It was not built to HUD codes. They didn't have to be. The HUD codes weren't established until this time. So because of that, banks, not all, I'll get into that. Secondary market, FHA, VA, I don't even know if VA does manufacture, USDA. They used to do just modular. I think they do manufacture now. I stay away from USDA if I can, unless it's stick built. Just keep it simple. But anyway, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, anybody that's going to bundle and sell the loans, mortgage brokers, if it's not built to HUD codes, I don't care if it's been added onto, and I don't care if they built a Roman palace around it. If there's a manufactured chassis underneath, if it's not built after this date to HUD codes, they ain't going to finance it. It's just that simple. So now I got a realtor tell me, again, upset about being talked down to, but tell me what doesn't matter because the title's purged and now it's real property. Well, there's a problem here. Real property, sorry, I want to keep referring to my little board here. It's my safety space, I guess. Yes, it's real property, but real property don't make it anything other than what it is. When you purge the title, it takes away the subject as personal property and purges the title and makes the home part of the land. It's hard to explain, but this makes it real property. So it's not a parcel XYZ with a mobile home and its own account number and a title. Once the title's gone, then it is considered real property. So that means it's taxed under the same, and this is in Colorado, so it may differ in other places, but it means it's taxed under the same parcel number, but it's still a manufactured home. You can't change that. I mean, if it's on a frame rail, if it's got HUD tags, it's got a HUD data plate, it's a manufactured home, man. You make it personal property, real property, but this could go to a lot of things in life. You can decorate stuff and do different things with it, but it's still going to be what it's going to be. You can take a Ford emblem, put it on a Chevy, still a Chevy, just got a Ford emblem. So anyway, he's going to argue with me, telling me that it's real property and you don't need that. Well, unfortunately you do, because the banks won't lend on it if it's not built to HUD codes after that date, if they can't identify the HUD numbers, and if they can't find the HUD data. Doesn't have to have the data plate, but you do have to find the HUD data, which will tell when it was the manufacturer, when it was built, VIN, all that cool stuff that they need. So now we're running into an issue where I'm going to have to try to figure out how to get that data. I'm going to call the assessors and land use and see if I can't get an old title, see if I can't get some information off the purge data. And then I think it's the NFTB. I should have looked that up before I made this video, but the owner can call in, or the buyer, and they can get the information if they have at least some data. But the problem is now we have no data. We have no HUD tag. We have no HUD cert. I think the county has it built or placed in 1981, so hopefully we're above that. But when the realtor's sitting there telling me, which I know is BS, but telling you guys that, oh, this is okay, well, it's not. Because now if the bank can't verify this, you can't get a loan. So then you're going to have to either go to like a local bank that'll loan on it, a credit union, a hard money lender, but the secondary market ain't going to touch it. So we have to discover some of these items in order to make it a presentable deal, let alone, I don't even know if it's going to appraise for what it's going to appraise for. It's a big home, so it should, but even then banks that deal with the secondary market, they get leery about doing homes, manufactured homes, especially with huge additions, because you're taking a single wide and then you're putting an addition, and then it's like, well, what's the marketability? It's already been on the market for a long time, so then there's going to be DOM problems where you're like, oh yeah, it's marketable, but it's been on the market for 180 days when everything else is selling in 63 days. So that's a whole nother topic too. So long story short, one, I feel better because I got to rant, even though nobody watches these or listens. Two, I got to explain manufactured homes again, how it has to be built after this date. And the only way you can really legit verify it, the assessors can say what they want, but unless you can get a title, the only way you can verify it is through the HUD tag and the HUD cert. So if we can't verify this and they can't come up with the data, it doesn't matter what the realtor says, this ain't going to happen. So long story short, make sure this stuff's there. If you're looking at a house and it's manufactured home, ask them about the HUD tag or the HUD certification or HUD data plate. Verify this, verify the date. Hopefully it's after that. And then, as my step grandpa used to say, if you say it with authority, people will tend to believe you. And as my dad used to say, if you can't dazzle them with brains, baffle them with bullshit. well, that works, but it's not ethical and it's not helping you out. So just make sure you're aware of everything when you start looking at manufactured homes. They can tell you whatever they want, and every state may be a little bit different, but the lenders are not, because the lenders are federally regulated. And so they all got to play by the same rules. So we all have to follow this. So when someone starts spilling stuff, especially if they're a younger junior realtor, or if you get in a little bit of a bad read and they're like, oh, no, don't worry about that. Well, when the mean old appraiser comes along, then there's going to be an issue. So anyway, verify, verify, verify. Don't just take somebody's word for it, or believe them because they act like they know what they're talking about. This is Eric, Accurate Appraisal Partners. Thanks for listening to my rant. Hopefully you learned a little bit. I'll try to get you another video. Have a good day.